$25 each. Plus, we didn't have to carry our Hammond organ around. It saved a lot of trouble. So these things are taken into consideration.
Cool. All right. And what else? Who else has a question for me? Don't be shy. Come on.
Yes, Eric.
Yes. When you record at home,
yes, sir.
Do you send them like reamped files with the effects and everything, or you send them raw files?
I do both. I try to give them a clean, direct, right off this pickup with nothing on it. And then I have usually 3 tracks of bass. The clean, direct, and then my 2 amp tones. Sometimes I'll make this a direct also if I do 4. But I try to also, once we're done recording, do like a pre-mix. Because if you give them the opportunity to screw it up and turn the wrong one up, they will. so you try to get them a little pre-mix and see if they're okay with that. And sometimes I don't send them the 4 separate, especially if it's like somebody that's not all that experienced and they're not sure, they may accidentally leave one out. So I do a pre-mix of that and send that to them. And then if they, later on they say, well, there's too much distortion, I'll send them another mix with less. That seems to work out pretty good. So anyway, I do some odd stuff on bass. I've been doing a lot of hammer-ons since the very beginning. People always ask me where I got it from, and they're sometimes surprised to hear that I got it from Billy Gibbons. I saw ZZ Top open for Alice Cooper in 1974, and I knew the promoter, so we were really close to the stage on New Year's Eve. ZZ Top and Alice Cooper. The stage was right there, and I was actually in the shadow of Billy Gibbons' hat. So as the light came down, he was in the shadow. We're watching him play, and he's amazing, and I love ZZ Top. I said, what? We couldn't believe our eyes. He touched the neck, and a note came out. Unbelievable. And that's the funny thing, because now you try to find a guitarist before about 1977, and nobody's doing this. Now everybody is, but nobody was. Of course, there's a couple famous people, a guy from the 40s, an Italian guy, an acoustic guitar was playing that. Nothing is new under the sun, but nevertheless, I saw Billy Gibbons do that, and I went home, I got my bass, I was excited. You could not only hit a note, but when you pulled it off, it made another note. Wow. You can move this hand around. A whole world of opportunity opened up. New world of opportunity opened up, and I was very excited about it. And so for years, once I finally was very, very lucky to get a little bit of success and do some interviews, people would always say, so where did you get hammer-ons from? Must be from a guitar player. No, it's not the guitar player you think. It was Billy Gibbons, 1974. Next interview, where'd you get your hammer? Billy Gibbons, 1974. I always tell everybody. I steal from everybody, but I always try to give them credit. Most everything I do came from somewhere, and it's borrowed. All of us do, whether we want to admit it or not. And so I always wanted to give Billy Gibbons credit because I love him. Also, pinch harmonics, that came from him also. So I always say, pinch harmonics, hammer-ons came from Billy Gibbons. So in Los Angeles a few years ago, I didn't know Billy Gibbons at all, and somebody invited me down to a studio to see another artist I knew, and they surprised me, and Billy Gibbons was there. And I got to meet him. And so, unbelievable. He's the greatest guy, the sweetest guy. He knows a little bit about, actually knows a lot about a lot of things. So everybody else went to record, and me and Billy sat down and started talking. And he was telling, we were talking about flying saucers and biology, semantics and mathematics, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And he knows every record, who's on the flip side of every single. He's just a walking encyclopedia of musical knowledge. He's just a brilliant man, and he's just so wonderful and generous too. So I had an incredible talk with him. We didn't talk about music at all. A lot of times when you meet somebody that you might want to talk to about music because you like their music, here's a tip: don't talk about music. Steve Stevens and I were at the Rainbow Bar and Grill one time, and the waitress is a dear friend of mine. She goes, "Billy, Jeff Beck is here. We don't have a table for him. Do you mind if we sit him at your table?" And me and Steve looked at each other like, "Wow, sure." Come down and say, "There was Jeff Beck." And I said, "Hey, great." And so Steve kicks me under the table. "Talk about cars. Talk about cars." You know, I start talking about his records. He'd want to leave, so I asked him what he thought of a couple cars. So anyway, there I was with Billy Gibbons, and it was a great honor to be in the presence of such a wonderful artist and a wonderful man. And it was time to go, so we said our goodbyes. He said, "Hold on a second, I have something for you." He reached in his bag, and he pulled out a framed photo of himself, signed to me, to Billy from Billy. I said, "Wow, that's amazing. I'm in shock. Thank you so much. What's this for?" He goes, and Billy said, "I read what you've been saying about me in the interviews. Keep it up." So he had that credit. That's that story. There's many stories. Who has a question for me? Yes, sir.
Will there be more music from the Winery Dogs?
There will be more music from the Winery Dogs.
Woo! Woo!
I'm very, very grateful that all of you have been so kind to embrace that band. We did a tour for 1 month in the USA. That's all we had time for this year. And it was just a wonderful time. We had a great time. There wasn't a minute of drama or trouble. We all had just a blast. It was a wonderful thing. So I love playing in that band, and we're going to start to write next year and have a record out hopefully by the end of next year. In the meantime, I just finished the new Sons of Apollo live with the Philharmonic Orchestra just came out live, and we're just finished recording the new studio album for Sons of Apollo. So we're going to start to record or start to tour with that at the beginning of next year into maybe the summer a little bit, and then I go to work on the Winery Dogs after that. So I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to play with some great people in those bands, and it's a really wonderful experience. Thanks for asking about it. That's cool. Right on. Who else has a question for me? I saw some other hands up a minute ago. I'll grab this guy, Ivan, again, and then you'll be next. Yes, sir.
Yes, similar to the same topic. How does the writing go with the Winery Dogs? What's the writing process?
Well, it's funny. It can come in any way. Sometimes Richie comes in with a whole song, sometimes half a song. Regret, off the first album, it was actually 2 songs. And we liked them both. But we didn't want both of them on the record because they kind of sounded alike. So I said, let's take the back of this one and put it on the front of that one. And where it breaks down, that's where the songs go from one to the other. But it worked, and it was kind of cool. So we can sit around and just jam things, and that's not, do that again. Okay, what key is that? And then we'll just kind of make things up. I was fooling around with one little goofy little bass thing. I just started. Like building like a little bit of a bass song, but Mike was, what is that? What is that? What key is that? I think it's D. So sure enough, Richie started playing these. Richie's just a superstar. I love him so much. He's so good. And he just started playing a couple of chords, and Mike came in with the beat. And the next thing you know, we had that, I think it's called You Saved Me, is the name of that. And then another time I was going. 3 different positions. And that became another song too. I forgot which one, but it's one of them.
How long?
Off the Hot Street Number.
This is how long?
And then there was those. Thank you. There was a lick by Stanley Clarke that I loved. It was on the Return to Forever record.